In this world, there are three genders: male, female, and gur. Gur are male who are able to conceive and give birth. Our main character is the gur male in this story.
I opened my eyes just as a woman's cold laughter echoed beyond the bridal chamber door. So what if the little jur is pitiful? Once I marry the Marquis, I'll send that brat to a remote village. Without him, no one will stand in my way. My entire body froze. That voice. Claire. The woman who poisoned me. The woman who destroyed both our families. I looked down. I had returned to the day of Marcus's wedding. My heart pounded so violently that I almost couldn't breathe. In my previous life, I had overheard her plan and rushed inside to expose her. Instead, she smiled sweetly, handed me poisoned tea, and whispered in my ear, "You know too much." The next thing I remembered was icy water swallowing me whole, while a massive stone dragged my body into the lake. No one ever found me. Everyone believed I had eloped with a guard. My father died in disgrace. My mother cried herself to death. My brothers were ruined. Noah suffered alone. This time, I wouldn't make the same mistake. I quietly signaled my loyal guard. Within moments, Claire was unconscious. We locked her inside an abandoned carriage that would leave the capital before dawn. Then I slowly lifted the crimson bridal veil. I'll become today's bride. The wedding ceremony continued without interruption. My heartbeat echoed beneath the veil. When Marcus finally lifted the red silk, his calm expression shattered. "Ethan?" Gasps erupted across the hall. "What? The second young master? Why is it him?" Marcus's mother staggered backward before fainting from shock. My parents stood frozen. Even my childhood fiancé, Daniel, stared at me with disbelief filling his eyes. I bit my trembling lip until I tasted blood. Then I forced tears into my eyes. "Father, Claire ran away with my guard. I couldn't let the Marquis household lose face." The entire wedding hall fell into complete silence. The wedding guests had barely dispersed before Father's furious voice rang through the residence. "Kneel!" I obeyed without hesitation. A sharp slap landed across my face. The room fell silent. Mother looked heartbroken. "Ethan, why would you do something so reckless?" Father pointed toward me with shaking fingers. "Our Hart family has served the imperial court for generations. Today you've turned us into a laughingstock." I slowly raised my head. If someone else became Noah's stepmother, he would suffer. Father's eyes darkened. "That isn't your decision." "It is." Another slap came. "Enough." Marcus stepped forward. Everyone turned toward him. His usually calm voice was calm. I heard Claire's conversation. Father frowned. Marcus continued. "If she truly intended to abandon my son, I would never have married her." The room became deathly quiet. He looked directly at Father. "Ethan chose this path knowing every consequence. I will treat him with respect. I ask father-in-law not to punish him further." Father closed his eyes before letting out a long sigh. Finally, everyone left. Only Marcus and I remained. The bridal chamber was quiet. A maid gently carried little Noah inside. The moment I saw him, my vision blurred. Without thinking, I knelt and hugged the child tightly. He looked at me with frightened eyes. In my previous life, I had watched him suffer until he lost his smile. Not this time. Never again. I whispered softly, "I couldn't save you before, but I'll protect you now." The little boy carefully wrapped his tiny arms around my neck. Marcus watched silently from across the room. After the maids carried Noah away to sleep, Marcus finally spoke. "What really happened?" I didn't hide anything. I overheard Claire. I had my guard knock her unconscious. I took her place. Marcus listened quietly. When I finished, he nodded once. "I understand." After a long silence, he looked away. "I won't force this marriage. We'll live as husband and husband only in name. We'll sleep separately." I smiled weakly. That is enough. Neither of us knew. This fake marriage would eventually become the safest place either of us had ever known. Scene 4. The lake where I died. That night, sleep never came. Whenever I closed my eyes, I saw the cold lake, heavy chains, a stone tied to my waist, Claire's smiling face. I still remembered my final breath. This rebirth wasn't a dream. It was my second chance. My sister's disappearance. I remembered the day my elder sister's carriage plunged from the cliff. No body was ever found. Marcus searched for 2 years. He refused to believe she was dead. His grief consumed him. The Marquis's household slowly fell apart. Claire had waited patiently for that moment. Noah's silent fears. The image that haunted me wasn't my own death. It was Noah, a cheerful child who slowly stopped speaking. Servants ignored him. Others mocked him. No one realized his silence was born from grief. This life, I swore, I would hear him laugh again.